now. Hey, it's 4:33. This is your boy Doc. It's 4:33, 15th of February. Hope everyone had a happy Valentine's Day. Next week is a short week, 4 days, so big weekend coming up. But Tesla was the main story today. Tesla had a really nice breakout day. I tried to document it as much as I could. I had a few things I was jumping around. I just wanted to make a quick video regarding the move on Tesla. So Tesla using QTA, the affectionate name for quant trading app. It's something I don't think I could trade without. It's one of the tools that I found in my forever search of the perfect tool. So let's just take a look. This was the action into close pretty much. But where did we find it, right? Where did we find it? I kind of found it late, and where I have a couple of snapshots here. Is this the one? That's from yesterday. There was a SPY. SPY actually had a good day based on yesterday's bounce. But let's first look. Tesla came on my radar right around like 10:30 or so, as we were bouncing off the VWAP for the morning. And I'll just leave this up here. How about we go like this? There we go. So as we came off, this is the intraday zone for the north intraday zone, I call it, or you can call it the top, whatever you like. But as we bounced off of that, after this first run up in the beginning, that's okay. Let it get out. I didn't catch this. If you guys did, awesome. But I waited for the retest here, and then the second retest of the north side of the intraday zone. This was my all in. I think I got like 20% along the way here. I didn't want to miss out. I was FOMOing, guilty as charged. But then as this bounce happened, this was like my full position here. And let's fast forward in time. I would try to take as many screenshots as I could. I had a whole slideshow planned. Why is this always happening? Okay, I get it. New plan. Like I said, no bells, no whistles, just good trading. So we bounced off the north day, and then we didn't come back. The next level to break would be right there around like 195. Once we broke that, we had a nice little bull flag, and then pop, it was gone. See you later. And we can examine this a little better. As this was the last touch of the intraday, we used this as the catapult up. Now, we had data for 205 and I think 200 was the initial data, and let's pull that up too. So keep in mind, QTA is like a Discord and a website in one. I was doing a class today on a QTA application. We do classes like all the time. Bryant is actually doing a webinar this Monday, so if you get in and join on the public side, you'll be able to get access to that. But here on the Discord, you have all these DTEs, 0 DTEs for the SPY, the SPX, the Qs, and now even the Russell. But the weeklies on the SPY, SPX, the Qs, the Russell, next week is little. But we're going to focus on these, the top 5 here, the Tesla archive. And the good thing about this is that it comes in a feed. So you can circle back and back test and see where it changed for the day. But also, it's a nice little handy guidebook. Like as the day goes on, you could say, well, let's see what it was 15 minutes ago. Rather than going in, putting in new numbers, you could just cycle back. So here we are, and I have the Tesla bounce somewhere here. Hang on. Let's bring that up to notify, or not notify. You know what I'm trying to say. Maybe you don't. I don't know. So right around here, like around 11-ish, this was like when the bounce was happening. So if we come over here and we try to find it on the GEX, we'll go back in time. This was coming up to 11. This was like 10. What was it? I can't find the time over here. No, 9:48. Okay, so just before 10 o'clock, we had some confluence at 195. Confluence, I mean, is you have the high GEX here. This is just the high GEX. You don't even have to know the calculations of it. You have this long green bar, okay, and then you have this purple line that gets confluent with it. What it really is, if you break it down, is absolute GEX is the most liquidity that there is. The highest GEX is also a very high liquidity draw. So these two together become a super magnet. The yellow line is the spot price, where the price is currently, and this blue volume behind it is the call volume. That call volume can act like a support resistance as well with these tractions. So 195 is a good target. So now let's see what happens when we get close to 195. We start seeing these other little GEX strikes climbing. So these are growing higher. So now we're at like 35 million, right? Keep that number in mind. And as we go through time, and keep in mind with the bounce, we'll see how the bounce is going through time. Bounce is going through time from 11 up until past 12. It's reaching and just breaking over that 195. So as it's going, it starts recalculating. We get new orders, we get new data. And then all of a sudden, as it was hanging out at 195, I think I alerted to the crowd, there was a pop right here. The absolute GEX shifted at 115-ish. So the minutes between 1 and 115, the absolute GEX shifted to 200. We announced it in chat, and sure enough, we'll pull up the live quant so we can see how the day finished. Sometimes you just got to let the charts speak for themselves, right? This is going to be a quick video. I could have easily just made a video, but I thought it was easier for me to do it. I don't know why I think it's easier. It just is. So look at that. Right over there, when the GEX alerted, when we were at 195-ish, around 115, this is 2, right around here, it was alerted that 200 is a high liquidity event. So even if you missed out on this road, right, you could have caught this on this consolidation. It held the levels, and if we look at the chart, the indicators told us that it was more of a resetting rather than a bearish divergence time. And what I mean is, you see the RSI, see the price action is going straight, right? We have a straight price action, somewhat straight, or level, I should say, level price action, and the RSI is dipping. MACD is dipping. Price is staying solid. Normally, that would be signaling a bearish divergence event, but you have to take into account a little bit of the momentum and the way that Tesla kind of gets in, the people FOMO into it. Whatever the case is, this, instead of being bearish divergence, becomes more of a charge. Almost like the best analogy I use is an archer pulling back her bow to launch an arrow. You pull back the bow, you get all that potential energy, and then pow, kinetic energy launches together. The RSI flies up, and if we get some volume in there maybe, yep, the volume comes in. You get the volume, you get the RSI, you get the MACD, everything is going into unison. The vortex indicator has crossed, the blue is taking off, we're in it now, and we're just going up, and then again, we start leveling off. The price action's coming down a little bit here. RSI is recharging a little bit, but it's not a dip. So if the RSI went from 73 to 33, that is run the gamut of the RSI. But the price action didn't lose much. It held the level, the 197.40. Then it used it. Probably have it missed off a little bit. Maybe that was right. Either way, it held that level. RSI charge. It touched the bottom. Bang. Here we go again. And then just a little retouch for good measure, and then right into close, and then into tomorrow. So getting back to that GEX that I showed you, that GEX 200 strike, let's follow that down the feed, because it is a feed every 15 minutes, every 16 minutes, it updates it. So now we have the GEX, it's growing. Remember that number I gave you was 35 million for that strike? Now it's at 60 million. So there's a lot of liquidity going on here. There's a lot of orders that need to be addressed, these strikes have a lot of interest. Now that call volume is split between here. It's growing at the 200, and we spent some good time there. And how did we finish? Let's see what the number is. Almost 70. So this is weekly GEX, right? As opposed to the 0 DTE that you have on SPY and the SPX and stuff like that. You'll have 0 DTE on here. This is just for the day only. So as you get forward into the day, you start getting a funnel action, I should say, getting into one specific strike. So then you can compare that with the weekly, and you can get a better picture on the SPY. And I did take some snapshots of SPY, but I think this is just going to be about Tesla. So the SPY for the week is going to be tomorrow. This is going to be tomorrow's GEX feed. You use the weeklies on Friday because weeklies are the Fridays on the Fridays. Tongue twister. But anyway, you'll have now more attraction here. So just use that, what we just went over with Tesla, how in the beginning of the day, we had the absolute GEX at one point of the highest GEX, but we noticed that there was more GEX rising. I always have my eye on where we're going to go next. Okay, this is the first target, but as we approach here, these were increasing. So remember, from 30, now we ended the day at 70. Now keep that in mind when we look at the SPY weekly. And again, this is for tomorrow, the weekly for tomorrow. So we had that one target, but there's a secondary target that's even higher. So let's see, earlier this was not too long ago before it closed. This was 215. We're just below 200 million there. Probably like 190, fair to say. Eyeball it. And let's see if we close any higher. No, 190 still, but still it's a high GEX. It's separated by 2 points, but I would not be surprised if SPY took a shot for 505. And just to get some extra confluence, we'll bring in our chart and we'll check on the SPY to see if 505 has any, if it makes any sense. Why 505? Is that open air? Have we been there before? And let's see, 503.50 is the largest, the highest number we had. Sorry, I'm all out of gas today. But we have a trend that's kind of been forming here. I'm going to steal my line. I don't want to move this line. This line I found is super, super respected all the way back from the beginning of the run-up. And just to give you an idea, in case you didn't see the other video, this first run-up on SPY back in November, before Thanksgiving, that run-up hit this wall, hit this level and hit a wall, and it respected it ever since. Once it popped it, it stayed on top of it. Once it dropped it, it couldn't, it tended to stay on the bottom of it. So it popped, stayed on top. Below it, if it dropped, it didn't, I can't think of another word that rhymes with drop that can fit in there, sorry. But this line, you can see how well it's respected. I don't want to move that. This was actually the last one that it took off from, this last run up this week, for the second part of the week. So 505 does make a little, it's going to be a rough draw because 503 was like the ceiling, but this all makes sense. We have this flat price action here. Oh, wait, we have lowering RSI here. This is gearing up for bearish divergence. So maybe that 505 might be left out in the cold. See, these are the things, we don't want to ever say, like, SPY is definitely going to 505 tomorrow. You can take a second mortgage out in the house and go for it. You always want to second guess yourself. If we saw that GEX and we're like really excited about 505, we want to take a breath, take some extra steps back, and look at what else we might be looking at. So tomorrow morning would be interesting to see. The candles show that we have a pop and we're coming into a slowdown, but overnight we'll stay a lot. I think tomorrow morning's PPI, the producer price index, and there's a theory that the PPI is more looked at by the Feds considering their rate hikes than the CPI. Everyone's centered around the CPI, but I believe that the PPI is the one they take into account when they decide at what percent to hike or not to hike. So just a theory. I'm not saying that this is, gospel. You should, go by it, but just wanted to get out there and show how almost clear-cut of a textbook move it was on Tesla today on the quant charts and also the GEX feed. They worked in tandem today. They worked really in tandem. They kind of bounced off here. Then we looked at the GEX. We had the GEX confirmation of 195. Once we got to 195, that absolute GEX moved to the highest GEX, which was 200. I was able to, literally, I went out and got groceries for my mother, and during the afternoon run-up. I had very exciting time. I took profit before I went out, obviously, and then I let a couple contracts run while I was out shopping. This is, it might be like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. But on something that was this crucial, I was confident about it. Yeah, I checked it every once in a while, but I was confident about it. I got home, 10 minutes to spare, closed it right away, just in time for the 4 o'clock class. And if you guys are not a member of QTA, there is a public area that you can join, and we post there all day, every day, and we share ideas. And it's not just revolving around QTA. This is while I was gearing up to go out, I was taking shots from my cell phone, and just the secret sauce of the GEX, I call it. This was the class advertising today, and just even little small things like here's the screenshot letting us know who's in charge. Little jokes, whatever. But if you are looking for a community that you can just discuss trades and hang out, public chat is few. If you consider joining the QTA, the enthusiast chat, we go over a little more focus on using the tools. These are some of the gains that we had. I think this was from today. Where'd it go? Right, this was the first take profit, and I try not to be walking through and hand in hand, but just to give you good examples. How am I not gonna post something that looks like such a textbook like today? So if you have any questions, sorry, I always forget to do this. Do me a favor, guys, and hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get notified when we do this again. But it really does help. I'm making fun of it, but it's just that I'm not really used to being a YouTuber yet, but they always remind me to do that. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments below, or you can come find me in the public chat. And if you do decide to join, you can use the code DNOW30. It'll give you 30% off your first month. And I'm always doing, classworks and workshops to get people on board and get comfortable. So again, thanks a lot for stopping in, and we will talk again soon. Thanks. Ta-da!